Hi, I'm Stefano from Italy. Thanks for watching our Petrazzoli video tutorials. In these videos, we show you how to set up a tooling on the machines. Here we set the tooling. We have the tooling divided for all different stacks. First stack. How we define the tools? This is the radius of the former, so radius 85 in this case. This is the distance from the rear of the wiper die to the center of the former. In this case, there is no wiper die, so we put a minimum quote just to avoid that the carriage don't go in collision with the former. This is the height of the first stack. That is measured from this plate to the center of the former. 66.5 in this case. This is the clamp length. This is the pressure die length. This is the maximum opening stroke of the clamp. You can edit the value by insert it in this field. This is the closing position of the clamp. How I set this value? You go in manual mode. You select the axis and put a piece of tube inside. Now, manually, and make sure the key is on manual mode, you close the clamp. Attention! Do it always at minimum speed. So, once you reach the correct closing position, you set this value in the toolset file. If you press too much against the former, the machine goes in error. So, it is important to define the correct closing position. To reset the error, turn on the machine and the reset button. .388.5 is our closing position. The criteria is applied in here. This is the maximum opening position of the pressure die. This is the short opening position. So, the open short of the pressure die. This is my closing position of the pressure die. Same procedure. You go in manual mode. You select the axis, this is AX5. You move it slowly against the tube until you find the correct closing position. And then you put the value in this field. Here is the length of the mandrel. This is my mandrel retraction value. Attention! So, after each bend, I want that the mandrel go out of 16 mm. These two values are the following movements of the booster and of the carriage. Very important values. You see that if I change a number here, I put for example 98, this value change in negative. If you have it at 100%, it follows at the same speed of the bend arm. But due to the material elongation, it might be necessary to break the carriage a little bit. So I try to find the correct value due to the elongation of the material. This is factor of experience. There is nothing written about. So if you push example too much, you will have wrinkles on the tube. So you try to decrease the value till the wrinkles disappear. The same criteria is applied on the pressure die. This is our first level of tooling. Then the same must be done on the second stack. So again, the height from the plate to the center of the former, if the tooling have the same diameter and radius, the value, as you see, will not change that much. They will remain the same. Our last tooling stack are the rolls. So the same criteria. The radius of the bigger roll the distance from the rear rolls to the center of the former. Each field can be added. The height of the third stack, always from the plate to the third stack, opening and closing position of the rolls, the radius of the small rolls, and the distance between the first roll and the rear rolls. This is my multi-stack tool. Everything can be saved here. You select your tool, program name. If you don't change the name, program already exists. Or do you want to overwrite it? You press yes. Then we have this page. So there is a help button. To click on the control, you see the description. For example, this is the loading measure, where I want my carriage to come and make the load of the tube. This is the parking position. The maximum bend angle the machine can perform. The number of stacks. If you have only 2 stacks, you put 2 in here. In this case, we have 3 levels. Where is my push bending stack? In this case, my push bending stack is on the 3rd level. If I want the device close at the end of the program, the collet close at the end of the program, length of the rod, and this is technical my mandrel in position, 5834. 5980 is the mandrel extraction value after the last bend, so the mandrel retract to 5980 in this case. These are the torques of the machine. They are not affecting the machine functioning. Misalignment 5 mm. What does it mean? After each angle, the head will move 5 mm out of the axis. This is also to allow to change the stack. If you have to change from left to right or to the push bending stack. So the head will move 5 mm out of the axis. Slide thrust disalignment 100 mm is the value we have here at AX6. That is practically the minimum distance between the pressure die and the bend arm that we see here. So you go forward as close as possible, but not in contact with the bend arm. This value, 190 mm, will be set in the toolset file. The end of cycle misalignment means that at the end of the cycle, the head moves 10 mm out of the axis to allow the tube extraction. If you press here and then F6, you have the IMS manual, where you can see all the description and functions of the IMS, the minimum and maximum values of the axis movements, for example. Here we see the mandrel, 5980. They are defined on this page. Here we can see the minimum and maximum movements of the axis. If there is programmed 5980 and here I write 6000 mm, the machine cannot move to 6000 mm and will give you an error. This is the same for each axis. The bend arm, for example, if you have here a maximum position of 180 degrees, I cannot program over this value. Then, never change the torque set by the factory. If I have here 185, I cannot reach this position, so it makes no sense to have this value. or you must increase the value. So, once all the parameters has been inserted on the different stacks, here you can put the tube diameter, the length of the collet if there is a stop inside, the wall thickness, if it's a square you can put the second dimension, the tube length, and this is what the machine calculated according to the program. So, once all this has been done, you can click on here. It's already in tooling. You save. And you have here the name of the tooling you have saved. Follow us for more online video tutorials. Don't hesitate to contact your commercial partner for all your questions or doubts. Thanks for watching this video. Ciao!